The three T20Is between England and New Zealand has come to a close with a thrilling contest in that final T20I, which England took home. The series ended 2-1 in the host's favor. Welcome back to the Outside View presented by Fast and Up. We'll look back at those three T20Is and kind of have some talking points in this edition. The series began with Tammy Beaumont just missing out on her second T20I 100, and that's why our first talking point is going to be about Tammy Beaumont. I have Ananya with me. Ananya, she's having a wonderful run in T20Is in 2021. Your thoughts on how she did? Because we saw her do well in that first T20I, but she was kept quiet in the last two.
Yeah, I think the way Tammy Beaumont has come back and kind of solidified her position at the top of the order, considering when you look back at that T20 World Cup, she wasn't opening. She couldn't find a spot at the top in the preceding years as well, but she's come back in 2021 and kind of established herself or re-established herself as that number one opener in T20s. And she played a fantastic innings in the first game. I think the pitch also suited her. It looked like a flat surface where shot making looked pretty easy, but yeah, she just took on the she took on the New Zealand bowlers and put them to the sword. I think she played the field superbly. And I think that's one of the things that's really stood out about Tammy Beaumont through this year and through her career is that, she's been able to kind of play the field, pick the gaps quite easily and manipulate and make sure that the bowlers are actually bowling where she wants to hit the ball. And yeah, she was fantastic in that first game, made batting look exceptionally easy and kind of forced New Zealand onto the back foot very early, smashed Leigh Kasperek around. I mean, you think of one of the top T20 bowlers going for 50 odd runs in 4 overs. Tammy Beaumont was fantastic, and I think she's kind of solved England's top order woes in T20s.
You mentioned about Leigh Kasperek briefly. Let's kind of move on to her because, of course, she's one of the talking points, Leigh Kasperek, and how she spun a web around the English batters. 6 wickets in these three T20Is. You spoke to her ahead of the series. Tell us about her mindset and what you saw in the three T20Is with respect to that.
Yeah, well, I think what stood out about Leigh Kasperek through her career is the fact that she's very aware of the kind of bowler she is. So she knows she's not going to probably spin the ball square and beat someone with her turn, but she's tactically very astute. And she, when she spoke to us, that's what she said. She said that, I practice my plans. I make sure that, I set fields accordingly. When we have open wicket session, I set fields and make sure that I'm trying to bowl to those fields. And she is someone who likes to take the attacking option. So she likes to be thrown into difficult situations and kind of outthink the batters. And she showed pulled her lengths back, set very smart fields. I think it was just her variation of pace, variation of angle that troubled the English batters. So, and that showed through the series. I mean, with New Zealand, all the focus is always on Devine, Bates, Leah Tahuhu, and Kasperek always flies under the radar, but she is one of their best bowlers, and I think she proved that through the series.
Yeah, indeed. But talk about England's batting. It's always strong as ever. We talked about it in the preview as well. Sophie Dunkley and BOUCHIER seem to have nailed that finisher's role in this English outfit, because first T20 they didn't have a lot of, a big role where BOUCHIER hadn't made her debut then. But the last two T20Is, Ananya, is England sure of its finishers now?
It certainly does seem like they have kind of nailed their batting order. They have a problem of plenty. I mean, you saw when Heather Knight slotted back in that third T20, everyone was pushed lower down, and you looked at that batting lineup and wondered when it ended, because there's Sarah Glenn, there's Sophie Eccleston, all these people who can hit a long ball. So I think, Sophia Dunkley, this summer has been the summer of Sophia. She's kind of made sure that she can't get dropped from any format. But the way BOUCHIER kind of slotted in and looked like she belonged at international level, I think that was something that was very heartening to see. Just see someone come in and play the exact same way she's played in domestic cricket was wonderful to see. And it does feel like England's batting order looks very, very robust. It looks quite scary at this moment. So there's lots for them to look forward to, and it'll be interesting to see how they transfer this form into the ODIs next.
Yeah, and you look at New Zealand, the way they've played, it's kind of easy to forget that the last series they played, the T20 series, they had tied it against Australia. And this series, they had their Suzie Bates back, Sophie Devine back, and that was a wonderful positive return for them. Your thoughts on those two, as well as Amy Satterthwaite, of course?
Yeah, I think with Suzie Bates, it was wonderful to see her back, and although she didn't quite get the returns that she would have wanted, I think she batted quite beautifully. I mean, it looked like the ball was pinging off her bat throughout the series, and it's again very positive signs looking forward, looking ahead to the ODI format where she will have more time. And with regards to Sophie Devine as well, she won them that one game that they did win. New Zealand finally have a win. Sophie Devine finally has a win under her belt. But yeah, I think both of them looked like they were back at their best. They looked like there is a big score around the corner, which is fantastic for New Zealand. And Amy Satterthwaite started the series quite well, kind of fell away towards the end. But the three of them, I think, are looking in good form, and they are the engine room of that New Zealand batting lineup. And I think finally it feels like New Zealand may have gotten their batting order right. You look at that T20I batting lineup, and while they didn't quite get the runs that they would have wanted, I think the order looks fantastic. And the addition of Brooke Halliday in that lower middle order, power she brings, the smarts that she brings, I think it gives them so much. And there's plenty for New Zealand to take away from the series, although they lost it.
Yeah, indeed, that this review wouldn't have been complete without the mention of Brooke Halliday. She played well in that final game, 26 out of 13 or 15 balls. So there you go, 2-1 says the scoreline in favor of England. But remember, it was a very competitive series, and it's not all over. It's set to continue in the longer format, the 50-over format. 5 ODIs to be played. We will be back on this very show, The Outside View, presented by Fast Enough, to preview those clashes. Till then, take care.